Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode. In today's video I am going to show you how to play the Ruy Lopez opening, at least some beginner lines. So if you do not know how to play this opening or want to check up a few lines that you've seen before but don't know exactly how to play them, here I am trying to help you get some patterns in and then know how to play it. So it starts with e4, obviously this is the Ruy Lopez, and then we are going to play e5, I mean the opponent. You're going to develop your knight, and they have to develop this knight so you can initiate the Ruy Lopez with the move bishop to b5. This is not directly attacking the knight. I mean, obviously it is, but it is not your intent to do it, to take it. So obviously, this is one of the lines. This is called the Berlin defense. Now here, I'm going to show you a very interesting line that you need to remember, right? So here, you're going to castle. They're going to take, and you play rook to e1. Now they can either go back like this, but then you are going to set a lot of pressure like this, and while it's still fine, you have active pieces, and it's statistically and theoretically better for them to go here. So the reason they do this is so they can put the bishop here afterwards, and that tends to be a really good place to put the bishop. Here, if the knight is there, you cannot put the bishop there. So they take. That was my phone. I'm sorry. So now they are attacking your bishop, you see. But there is a trick here, because if they take the bishop, you're gonna give a discovered check. And whatever they block with, you win the queen, right? That's your plan. So they are going to have to take your knight, or they can play bishop to e7. Both of these moves are working, but let's say this, and now you play d4. You can also play bishop to f1, which is considered the same line. But let's say they go here. You're gonna do this, their castle, and you play d4, trying to open up everything. Playing c3 next. So let's say rook to e8, c3, or maybe even bishop to c4 is a move. Later knight to d2, and you just finish development with a really good position. So, as I said, here they're going to take like this, and after block you can play bishop to f1 or d4. As you can see, both these moves are working. Bishop to f1 is considered the main line, but it doesn't really matter what order you play this in. They're going to play like this next. They could also play this here. You have to drop back and then try to trade. Usually you don't want to trade. You are going to play c3 to reinforce this pawn, are going to develop the bishop to c4, and everything is going to be fine for you. So what else are there for variation? So this is one variation. This is called the Berlin defense, and this is one of the most famous, if not the most famous one. So there also is the old Steinitz. This is a pretty boring one, but in this line specifically, you can just castle, you can play h3, you can just develop your knight and stuff like that. Everything is working. So this defense is particularly boring because they're playing really solid. There is not really a specific line that you can play to get an interesting play. You can play d4 pretty quickly as well and break in the center, bring your knight to the center as well, putting pressure here. So after something like this, you're just going to castle, and they're kind of compressed on the queen side as well, but they also get the open file to pressure, maybe if you fianchetto the bishop, but there isn't really a specific line that you play here. So obviously there is another line which is like this. This is the Morphy defense, and after you go back, this is the Columbus variation. So the reason people play this is because if your bishop gets kicked out, it suddenly is looking at the f7 square, and it's actually really powerful. And even though this is still fine, obviously, You are going to have a lot of initiative, breaking in a center, attacking that square later on, and stuff like that. That's why this is considered slightly good, slightly better for white as well. So in some variations, let's say like this, you can play c3, put the bishop here, break like this in a center, get a strong center, castle your king to safety, and start an attack. This is the idea with the Ruy Lopez. So obviously there are other sidelines. They can develop the bishop, but here you can just take the pawn. This is the interesting variation. They may also, after they take, if you don't play like this, there are variations in which they can sacrifice the bishop. But yeah, here you can sacrifice the knight and then play like this. If they drop back, it's pretty bad for them because here you are getting a lot of counterplay even like this. Let's say what the engine says exactly. And now after they drop back, you're going to castle. They have hindered development. They're going to have a hard time developing, obviously, and you can start an attack pretty quickly. Sometimes they may blunder. I mean, you can also go castles, and after they go here, you can then take. And if they go like this, they have completely blundered the game away. This is also something that happens pretty often. That's why I decided to let you know. And as for other things, obviously, there are interesting lines. There are more boring lines. This is a line that I partially showed you before. Here they can just develop normally. Your bishop stays here. You can castle, you can play c3 later on, develop your knight right now. So let's say castle takes. You can play d4, you can play rook to e1, everything is fine. And the reason that I showed you this in this specific video and did not go into deep detail is because some people do not actually want to learn the theory. And the thing is, you will need some sort of pattern that you go off and see, okay, wait, so he showed me the move c3. Maybe the move c3 is going to be available in the future. He also showed me a pawn break in the Steinitz defense. So here, he showed me that I can play d4. Oh, actually I can play it in another variation too. I can play it in many other variations, in fact. You can even play it here. Not yet, but here. So the reason I made this video is that you can have brief knowledge on the opening and then see a little bit what it is about. Obviously, black is going to castle his king, and you're going to start an initiative by placing your queen on f3 sometimes, bringing your knight to c3 or c2 depending on the position, and obviously develop normally. You have to stick to the opening principles, but these are just the basic lines that you must know if you want to start playing this opening. And if you want to go in depth and think that your opponent may know a lot of theory, I think you are going to be fine with these patterns that I showed you, but you may as well want to check out other videos that I did. I also showed you the Caro-Kann. I showed you the Sicilian defense and how to play them. And yeah, you don't really need to know 150 Ruy Lopez lines because this opening is really a lot of has really a lot of theory. And if you want to learn them, sure you can, but you don't need to. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And check out the other videos as I told you. See you.